Hello, hello, Gyoro Gyoro! Okay, I think that is enough trolling for me in one video. Anyways, today's video will be a full review of the new core character, Gyoro Gyoro. Despite its ugly appearance, Gyoro Gyoro is actually quite an important and impactful character to have. And I will go over the reasons why in this LSSR review video. But of course, before I begin, I'd like to give a shout out to all the members who have joined my channel. Thank you so much for becoming members of this channel. These LSSR reviews do take up a lot of my time and effort, so your additional support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, once again. Alright, let's begin. Alright, let's go over his pros and cons. Starting off with the pros. Gyoro Gyoro is a utility support that provides Team Berserk for the first turn, max HP reduction through his ultimate, ally max HP boost through his passive, and even healing from his core when your allies drop below a certain HP threshold. And the Berserk buff is applied to the entire team, which means this will increase your overall damage and burst potential. His core also quadruples the passive max HP boost that you get, and this will provide more durability for your damage dealers, as well as synergize very well with HP scaling characters such as Tank Top Master and Watchdog Man. Next, he's going to require low to mid resource investments. I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 star limit break is good enough for now, and you should open up to talent page 2 along with unlocking the 3 sigil slots. And a 2 to 3 star exclusive badge is more than enough. And because of all the utility that Gyoro Gyoro provides, he has uses in both PvP and PvE. And his core level 1, 4, and 10 are powerful and useful cores. Core level 1's main usage will be for PvP, core level 4 is mostly used for PvE bossing, and core level 10 will be used on DOT teams or damage overtime teams, which we will go into more detail later on in the video. And last, Gyoro Gyoro will have an extremely long meta life. In fact, Gyoro Gyoro core will even see some usage during bomb meta, and I'll go over the reasons why later on in this LSSR review. Now let's talk about his cons. First con is, obviously, he's locked behind a paywall. Even though it is a rather small paywall of $10, it still forces players who do not wish to spend, and there's also the whole power creep thing that I've mentioned before. No, I'm not gonna go over this, I'm not gonna rant about this topic again, let's just move on. Next, he's gonna need high speed in order to check Watchdog Man and SSR Genos. And this is so he can use his ultimate to reduce their max HP in order to minimize the damage you take from their ultimates. But in all honesty, you'll still probably take a lot of damage even though their max HP is reduced. That's why I say check rather than counter Watchdog Man and SSR Genos. And finally, Gyoro Gyoro is a relatively weak unit without his core abilities. This is mainly because Gyoro Gyoro doesn't do a lot of damage and is rather frail. To give an example, if you guys haven't experienced this already, if you have anywhere from 4 to 6 Gyoro Gyros in extreme training, you most likely will fail to clear the second or third attempt just from the lack of damage that Gyoro Gyoro provides. Because when Gyoro auto attacks, it only does 1 damage from the base attack. Obviously, he allows the ally with the highest attack to follow up, but much like King, who only does 1 damage on both his basic attack and ultimate, Gyoro Gyoro's basic attack functions very similar, if not the same. And compared to the other LSSRs that have been released, he's rather frail. Like Goketsu has some sort of damage mitigation as well as a self-heal. Garo and Watchdog Man have unyielding. And even Zombie Man has a revive mechanic, so even if he does die, he does come back later on in the fight. Alright, now let's go over his skills. Starting off with his basic attack. Send Spy Drone in search of a single target. Grants follow-up to the ally with the highest attack and recovers HP by 120% of Gyoro Gyoro's attack. Now the base damage of this basic attack is 1, just like King's abilities. It's essentially the same thing as King's abilities. So basically all the damage that's going to be coming from this basic attack is from the ally who follows up with the highest attack. Moving on to his ultimate, deals damage to all enemies by 110% of Gyoro's attack and reduces max HP of the target by 15% for 2 rounds. HP will be immediately reduced. I would like to mention that this max HP reduction debuff does not stack, it only refreshes. If it actually did stack, this ability would be absolutely broken. And then for his Ultra Ultimate, deals damage to all enemies by 140% of his attack, so it goes up by 30%, and reduces max HP of the target by 25% for 2 rounds. HP, of course, will be immediately reduced. So the HP reduction debuff goes up by 10%, which is quite significant. And of course, Gyoro Gyoro's Ultra Ultimate will require a 3-star keepsake. I would say his 3-star keepsake, along with his Ultra Ultimate, are only for the whales who are interested in PvP, and it has to be high-end PvP as well. Otherwise, it's completely optional, and most players should be skipping his keepsake. Alright, continuing on with his skills, let's go over his passives. Starting off with the basic passive. Increases max HP of all allies by 15% for 2 rounds. Monster ally in the same column shares 50% of damage taken by Psychos or Gyoro Gyoro, only when their HP is over 20%. Now the second part, where the ally shares the damage if they're a monster, is usually a downside because you'd rather have your monster tank or DPS stay alive rather than Gyoro Gyoro. The only exception is Phoenix Man, since you want him at low HP in order for Phoenix Man to deal more damage. And because of this, those two characters do synergize very well together. Alright, next let's go into the extreme passive. Increases max HP of all allies by 20%, goes up by 5% for 2 rounds. And of course, monster ally in the same column shares 50% of damage taken by Psychos. And then for his Uber passive, the max HP buff goes up to 25% for 2 rounds. And the damage shared by the ally monster is the same. And of course, for his extreme passive, he requires to be limit broken to 5-star. Similar to Zombie Man, at some point you want Gyoro Gyoro at 5-star for PvP, but it is not a priority for most players. And then for his Uber passive, he requires 5-star Awakening and a 3-star Keepsake. I would say his Uber passive is only recommended for the Mega Whales who are interested in PvP. That 5% max HP boost will make a difference in PvP, especially for high-end PvP, but for everyone else, getting his Keepsake and dumping that many resources to get him to Awakening 5 is really not worth it in my opinion. Alright, now let's talk about his Conspiracy Power cores. Starting off with the basic core effect, which will grant 3 points of energy per round. After battle begins, enter 30% Berserk immediately for 1 round. And this requires 1 Grappler and 2 Esper. And this Berserk is applied to the entire team, by the way. Next, let's go into his Advanced Effect Core 1. Within 2 rounds, quadruples max HP boost effect. If allies have lower than 50% HP, they will be healed by 40% of their max HP. Effective on the same character once per round. So every character on your team will have this healing effect once per round for the first 2 rounds. And this will require 1 Grappler and 3 Espers. And then for his Advanced Core Level 4, this will grant 30% ultimate damage bonus for all allies. If allies have lower than 50% HP after taking action in 2 rounds, they will be healed by 40% of their max HP, same as the first Advanced Core. And then for his Advanced Core Level 10, it will grant 80% DOT bonus for allies, quadruples max HP boost effect within the first 2 rounds, and this will require 1 Grappler and 3 Espers like the other 2 Advanced Cores. And finally, for his Advanced Core Level 17, within 2 rounds, quadruples max HP boost effect. If allies have lower than 60% HP, they will be healed by 50% of max HP, effective on the same character once per round. And I believe this one only requires 2 Espers and 1 Grappler. It might be 3 Espers, 1 Grappler, I'm not exactly sure. Either way, don't worry about it too much. So for his Advanced Core Level 1, it is mostly used in PvP during SSR Geno's meta, and it has some uses in certain PvE situations when you need the max HP boost to make your characters tankier. Advanced Core Level 4 is the best PvE bossing core in terms of damage, and it will eventually replace Zombie Man core for Club Boss Boros. Next, Advanced Core Level 10 will allow Gyoro Gyoro to make a comeback during the bomb meta, when paired along with Awakened Tatsumaki and Awakened Vaccine Man. And this is mainly because since SSR Genos isn't a popular pick during bomb meta, Awakened Tatsumaki and Awakened Vaccine Man, along with Gyoro Gyoro Advanced Core Level 10, allows for Awakened Tatsumaki to completely destroy Bomb's resilient shield. You might as well not even have Bomb Core at that point, because when Tatsumaki does that much damage, it just completely breaks through Bomb's core effect and his shield. And lastly, Advanced Core Level 17 is basically just a stronger version of Advanced Core Level 1, and all I have to say is, good luck getting there. Okay, let's go over his build now. For Gyoro Gyoro's gear, you want either a monk or suit set, and for the monk set, you want HP speed times 4. You can slot in a HP percent for one of the HP speed gears if you're lacking that particular gear. And then for the suit set, you want 4 HP percents. And if you need a speed tune, obviously you can slot in an HP speed gear in one of the HP gears places. Alternatively, you can run a knight set with attack speed gear, but I don't really recommend this because, as I mentioned before, even with this build, Gyoro Gyoro won't deal enough damage to be considered a main DPS, but it's just another option if you guys want to consider. Alright, next let's go into his talent sigils. The only damage sigil you want to slot onto Gyoro Gyoro is a frenzy sigil. Save your sharp sword sigils for your other main units. And I'm pretty sure you all have plenty of these lying around, as there are no other characters in the game that use the sigil. This is literally the most useless sigil in the game until you slot it onto Gyoro Gyoro. And the Frenzy Sigil will allow your allies who are berserked to deal more damage when attacking. And at the later levels, it will provide flat HP and crit damage percent. For these support sigils, you want either Vitality, Chaos, or Bastion. For Vitality will provide you flat HP, flat attack, and HP percent at the later levels. The Chaos Sigil will provide you with ultimate damage reduction percent, flat HP, and block percent at the later levels. And finally, for the Bastion Sigil, this will reduce the enemy's crit rate chance, as well as provide you flat HP and ultimate damage reduction percent at the later levels. Alright, next let's go over his buff gears. For his faction piece, he's obviously a villain, and the main stat that you want is HP percent. For the substat, you want to prioritize speed percent, HP percent, or you can settle for flat HP. For his type buff gear, he's an Esper, and his main stat should be HP percent as well. The substats that you want are either block rate or flat HP. And then for his level buff gear, he's a dragon level threat. The main stat you want is HP percent. As for the substats, you want either damage reduction rate, bonus damage reduction rate, or flat HP. And honestly, none of the augments really work that well on him, so don't bother trying to roll for an augment on Gyoro Gyoro. So, to sum things up, Gyoro Gyoro is a must-have core unit. He will have many uses in both PvP and PvE, so if you plan on continuing on with this game, please buy the hero backup stick for Gyoro Gyoro. Next, his core is a priority core to level for both stats and core effects, and the stats you will gain are DOT rate and row attack boost percentage. As I mentioned before, advanced core level 1, 4, and 10 are all viable in some way, and Gyoro Gyoro only requires low to mid investments for general core use. I would say limit breaking him to 3 to 4 stars is good enough, along with opening talent 2 page with the 3 sigil slots unlocked. And you should not go past 2-star awakening or purple 2. And the reason for this is because Gyoro Gyoro gets offensive stats from his purple stars rather than defensive stats. And since Gyoro Gyoro is used more as a utility support unit, these stats do not benefit him as much as they would other characters. You should be saving your awakening materials for other monster characters such as Goketsu, Boros, and eventually Red Mosquito Girl. However, eventually you do want to 5-star limit break your Gyoro Gyoro for PvP. But it's definitely not a priority unless you have all your other main characters fully limit broken. Next, 3-star Keepsake and 5-star Awakening are not recommended unless PvP is your main focus and you are a Mega Whale. The max HP reduction from his Ultra Ultimate, as well as the max HP boost from his passive, will only affect high-end PvP. And finally, Gyoro Gyoro will be a relevant core unit for a very long time. Gyoro Gyoro's core will even see usage, like I said before, during bomb meta, and his advanced core level 4 will be used as your main core in PvE for the longest time. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this One Punch Man video. As usual, if you guys have anything to add or if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, or join if you wish to support my channel even further. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next One Punch Man video. Peace!